So let's take a look at actually what are the habits of happy people, because we are choosing to look at this hacking depression and anxiety by looking at what are the habits that people that are happier or have a higher happiness set point do. If we really want to feel more positive and powerful and energized, we need to add in some of these habits. And I could literally talk for the next 10 hours straight about hundreds of skills and tools that we can use in order to radically transform our level of happiness. But like I said, for today, we're going to just focus on the ones that have the most immediate ROI that you can put into your life right now. The first one that we're going to focus on is a physical habit that can make us happier. Now, I don't want to bore you with how your physical habits can make a huge difference when it comes to your happiness. I think you probably all know that. I am prepared today. I could talk about water, nutrition, neurotransmitters, exercise, and talk about some of the research behind those. But our goal actually for today is for us to make this one choice, which is to add in a 10-minute walk. Okay, so this 10-minute walk that I'm going to suggest has some real significant research behind it. And I'd like you to have the why behind this might make such a big difference in your life. Now, I know you guys took a 15-minute walk, was it yesterday? And so that was like a wonderful actual launch for this idea. When you take a 10-minute walk, it actually improves your brain function. So it doesn't just refresh your mind, it actually helps your brain to have bilateral stimulation so that both sides of your brain are really communicating well. That means that it's not just moving the energy and firing more, you're more likely to come up with more creative ideas and have a lot more problem solving capabilities. Taking a 10-minute walk every day also has been shown to create better sleep, a better quality sleep, and to help you to fall asleep more quickly. As a matter of fact, those who did vigorous exercise or lifted weights, people that took a 10-minute walk versus those who did vigorous exercise or lifted weights, got the same benefits when it came to getting better sleep and also being less stressed. That's pretty amazing. There's a huge lifting weights and getting vigorous exercise also has a lot of benefits, but if we're talking about adding in something really small and getting a big return, that taking that 10-minute walk is improving your sleep, which then if you have better sleep, it actually improves your stress levels, because when you have enough time to sleep properly at night, your brain actually refurbishes itself. It actually it sort of repairs itself overnight, and also it re-ups its neurotransmitters, which enables you to be actually much happier the next day. You guys know that anecdotally, but they were saying, wow, we could just add in this 10-minute walk in order to create this better sleep. 10-minute walk also reduces anxiety and depression. So one of the studies said that a simple 10-minute walk can be as effective as a 45-minute workout in terms of the way that it reduces your anxiety and depression, which is pretty significant. And then if you take your walk outside, it says that you actually only need 5 minutes outdoors in order to be able to boost your mood and your self-esteem. 5 minutes of what's called green exercise or being outdoors. So there's a lot of research that says this is sort of one of these tiny choices that could create a big change in your life. And we're talking about setting your body up in order to be happier every day. These are the habits of happier people. So if we were to add in a 10-minute walk into your life every day, here's a couple of quick suggestions that I have. Do it with your partner or with a friend. Make it a way to connect. Make it a way to have conversation that maybe you're not having, or make it a way to just have a couple of laughs and some social time. Do it with your family. Make it a family ritual at night after dinner or on the weekend, so that you're giving your children the opportunity to also learn how to raise their happiness set point. Do it with a team of coworkers at lunch, which I know you guys were doing yesterday. I've had several clients choose to actually start having to every day at lunch go out with their coworkers, sort of walk around the inside of the building if it happens to be raining. And this is making a huge difference in many aspects of their work life, but also in their productivity and also in their feelings of happiness at work. And then there's one other suggestion that I don't know if Zebra would like, which is that some people have chosen to attend meetings this way. So if you're just a participant and you're not presenting, that you could be listening to the meeting while going outside and taking a walk. So our goal here is to try to shift from seeing nutrition and exercise and hydration. I know that we're not talking about those other parts today, but just as ideas, as not optional, and also not as just a way to make our bodies look better, but they're non-negotiables that don't just affect our physical health, but are also really shifting our mental and our emotional health as well. And that those ideas can be simple. These interventions can be 10 minutes long, but could make a huge difference. So let's talk about some mental and emotional habits that can make us a lot happier. It is estimated that we have about 40 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Some studies show that about 80% of those thoughts have a negative content, which is horrible. One quote that I have here is, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which has never happened." I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. And also that about 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. The brain is somewhat lazy. It prefers an effortless way to go about life because it's trying to conserve energy. So your brain might be likely to think the same thoughts again and again when it comes. So when it comes to changing that, it could take some work, like we were referring to before. But if we repattern that over time, then that becomes the new automatic way, because it does like to go on autopilot. I know that if I ask you to just not think any negative things, or to just focus on positive things, that's probably not going to work for you, because our thoughts seem to be very hard to control. And every day we're not having an actual reaction to life. We're having a reaction to our thoughts about life. So this is why we all have a very different reality, because our perceptions are so different. So because our thoughts lead to our feelings, thoughts create feelings, and then that influences our energy and our behaviors, your entire existence, your whole reality is really dictated based on how you think about things. Your thoughts are affecting your emotions and your feelings, and then that creates your energy and your behaviors. So your thoughts are essentially responsible for painting the entire life experience that you have. So how to guide your thoughts if we can't just choose more positive thoughts or more positive ways of thinking about things? One way is actually a very hot practice that I'm sure you've heard of. I'm sure you've heard a ton about it, which is about developing a gratitude practice, meaning that you intentionally are putting concentrated focus on things or people that you're grateful for. Now, this intentional focusing of your thoughts on something positive ends up creating a positive emotional and physical reaction. Now, gratitude practices, just like taking a 10-minute walk, these probably don't sound like mind-blowing ideas. The thing is that they really benefit the people who do them. And for those who don't do them, they don't get the benefits. But the research says that for gratitude, that they get a tremendous amount of ROI on these really small choices. So let me try to sell you on it with one or two things. So they did one study where they had two groups, and they were each, one group was asked to write things that were grateful for and things that, positive things that had happened during the week. The other group had to write about their daily irritations or things that displeased them. At the end of 10 weeks, I think this is amazing. Those who wrote about gratitude were more optimistic and felt better about their lives. And surprisingly, they also exercised more, and they had fewer visits to physicians than the people that wrote about their irritations and their aggravations. I think that's amazing. That when you could see the spokes on the wheel and how that emotional and mental shift was actually changing their physical bodies as well. Another study that was super cool showed people, there was a scientist that wanted to research a lot of different positive psychology techniques. So he encouraged people to use a series of different ones in a control group. And then there was a week when people had to write, their practice was to write a thank you letter to somebody that they had not thanked in the past, that they should thank or that they wanted to thank. And they just wrote them a letter whether they mailed it or not. And actually, this technique outpaced and outscored all of the other techniques that they tried, the positive psychology techniques that they tried with people, was writing a thank you letter to somebody else. And the benefits calibrated for an entire month. They had a difference for a month in their system. So one of the things that we know that the effects of gratitude actually mimics the same as taking medications, because it affects your dopamine and your serotonin levels. So when people are grateful, they actually increase their serotonin and dopamine levels, sometimes to the same degree that medications can do for them. So we're talking about an incredibly simple practice that has a huge physical intervention, but that it is non-toxic, doesn't impact us in any negative ways, has no downside effects, and is all positive. And that's what we're looking for here. So let me give you a couple of examples of how to practice gratitude. One of them is to have a daily practice, to think of 5 things that you feel grateful for and why you're grateful for them. Now, if you do this, my suggestion is that you try to ritualize this practice. I like to use driving time in the car that otherwise is kind of empty time, as spiritual practice time, as gratitude time. So when I'm in the car, I like to turn the radio off sometimes. And that's when I'm doing my list of things that I'm grateful for and why I'm grateful for them. And you could choose to do that on the way to work, on the way home from work, so that you're doing it 2 times a day. Similarly, you can build a gratitude list like that in writing, which is very powerful for people to keep a gratitude list every day. Another way is to write a letter to somebody once a week that you feel grateful for. It could be just a paragraph. Remember those results from that study we got before, which is that these people experienced more happiness for a month because they had written one letter to somebody expressing gratitude. So that's significant. You can also thank yourself every day for making some positive choices. You can say, thanks, Beth. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for stretching yourself. Thanks for making that positive choice. Why not thank yourself? You can also thank your challenges for enabling you to grow stronger, wiser, or deeper. You know, like, gosh, I really hated that, but thank you. I know I needed that. I needed that lesson that really helped me to grow recently. And lastly, you could just sort of wake up and thank your day. I think this is an incredibly powerful process to just wake up and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just be grateful for your day. Thank you. Now let's talk a little bit about what are some spiritual habits that we can use that can actually make us happier and can raise our happiness set point. A spiritual practice is really an on-purpose choice to practice being your best self. It's doing things that make you feel more aligned and connected to the larger whole. It's doing things that make you feel more calm, more centered, more positive, more loving, more expansive. It's seeing life as a reflection of your energy, that what you're putting out there is what you're getting back. And there's 2 ways that I want to talk to you about creating a little bit more of a spiritual practice. The first one is what I call using nature's Xanax. Okay, so everybody probably knows what Xanax is. I'm not opposed to it. It's not that, but there is a very natural version of Xanax that has been embedded into our bodies that we could really use on purpose. And nature's Xanax is the same as what I call belly breathing or diaphragmatic breath. And some of you guys have probably heard of belly breathing or diaphragmatic breath. Nature's Xanax is a free, non-toxic, no side effects, makes you feel expansive, opens your heart, reduces tension, always makes you feel better type of technique. So again, high ROI and low downsides for learning how to really use belly breathing or diaphragmatic breath in your favor. So let me give you a quick sense of why you would need to do this. When we have stressful thoughts, we actually trigger a stress response in our physical body. That's normal. It's because we're animals and because we're primed to be able to fight or flight. So now when we have those negative thoughts, the way that our physical body responds is that it dumps adrenaline into our bloodstream. That is meant to help us to run or fight in order to be able to get away from danger. The problem is that you're having this adrenaline dumping into your bloodstream when you're driving a car or when you're in a meeting or when your child is taking 20 minutes to put their second shoe on. And so you are having a lot of adrenaline that's pooling in your bloodstream and you're not running and you're not fighting. So you're not getting rid of it. It's just sitting there. So this leads us to become more anxious, more depressed, more irritable, more fatigued, because we have adrenaline in our bloodstream that we're not using. So you could get this adrenaline out in two ways. One is that you can actually go for a run. You can go do heavy exercise, and that will reduce your adrenaline. The other thing that you could do is to do belly breathing. And so belly breathing is because the diaphragm is such a big muscle that when you engage the diaphragm, it sucks the adrenaline out of your bloodstream. So this is why I always say to people, like, if you're having anxiety, if you're having stress, if you're having negativity, you have to start with breathing, because you need to get rid of the adrenaline. And when I say breathing, I mean 5 to 20 breaths at most. And I also mean that you can do just one sometimes and feel a huge impact of doing that belly breath. So I'm going to actually show you how to do belly breath properly so you could get the most out of it. I also want to let you know that I do have a video on my website that will show you how to do this. So I'm going to put this camera down a little bit. I'm hoping that you can see my belly here and also my chest, because what I want you to do is I want you to put, you could do this along with me, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly here. And I want you to take just a regular deep breath. If you could do this with me for just a moment, just take a regular deep breath. And just notice that when you just breathe regularly, just breathe normally, what part of your body actually moves. And it's your chest. We normally breathe with our chest, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. That's sort of normal everyday breathing. Now, belly breathing, the breathing that actually really relaxes you, the breathing that calms you down, the nature Xanax, engages your belly, your diaphragm. This is where we're breathing from, not here. So in order to do that, you would take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and you're going to send the breath down to your belly. So you go like this. And your belly is going to expand with that breath. And when you breathe out, your belly sinks back again towards your spine. So try that with me for a moment. And if it's hard for you to get, it took me like 2 weeks to get belly breathing. I find all my clients are able to get it in a session. I don't know why it felt so backwards to me. So if you're frustrated with yourself, don't worry. That happened to me too. So you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. And you're going to see if you can send it down to the balloon of your diaphragm. Allow that to expand, and then breathe out through the mouth and let your belly sink back towards your spine. Now, why is this a technique that actually really helps people to raise their happiness set point and to be happier people, and also to reduce their anxiety and their depression? Stress happens throughout the day all the time for all of us. And we need to have access to a tool like this Nature's Xanax to immediately soften our system, immediately create expansion, immediately make us feel more relaxed. In order to do that, all we need to do is just go. And once you become more familiar with belly breathing, you don't need to make a big show of it. You don't have to walk around the office like this. You could just be sitting in a meeting and your boss could say something demanding, and you might just go, and you take that nice deep breath into your belly, and now you've reduced your adrenaline and softened your system again, bringing you back into that calmer state. And if we can learn how to do that more frequently, then we have access to something that's going to keep us calmer, less stressed at all times throughout the day. Now, my suggestion is that people wake up in the morning and do 5 to 20 belly breaths when they're laying in bed. It's actually one of the easiest places to do it anyway. And then from there, what they're going to do is they're reducing their stress right away at the beginning of the day. Plus, they're also developing the muscle of that skill so that they can use it throughout the day. And then people that have learned how to belly breathe like this, it's an absolute game changer for their life. And also, it's still taking, less than 5 to 10 minutes a day with a huge ROI. Okay, and so our final tool that we're going to be talking about today is about meditation. And I'm going to teach you a little bit about it real quickly, and then I'd like to do a meditation with you. So if there's anything that you would need to do in order to get set up, in order to start quieting your life, to be able to take a 5-minute meditation with me, you can go ahead and do that now while I just teach a couple of basics before we get started with that. So when it comes to meditation, there are literally hundreds of ways to meditate. I've been teaching meditation for years, and there seems to be an endless ways that you can practice it. There's breath work, there's counting, there's guided meditation, mindfulness, visualization, mantras. It goes on and on. And most people just need to find the kind that works best for who they are and what they respond to, which is why it's so wonderful that there's so many options. Most people also agree that meditation is a valuable and amazing idea, but most of them are also not doing it at all. So our goal today is to make meditation much easier for you and extremely accessible. One thing is, if you could go to my website either now or at the end of our time together, positivecounselingli.com. Right on the homepage, you're going to see, if you put your email in, you get 5 free meditations. Those meditations range from 6 to 17 minutes each. And part of my goal of giving them to people is that they don't have to think about what to do to meditate. Let me do the work for you. Let me just guide you through the process and the practice so that you don't have to think much. So again, that's positivecounselingli.com, and you just throw your email in there. So here's some of the things that I really want you to know. We need to make meditation much less esoteric. Meditation is no longer for yogis and ashrams. It's for busy moms, it's for stressed dads, it's for college students, it's for overwhelmed supervisors, it's for kids that don't want to go to school that day. It is literally for everyone. Also, we can make meditation something that we could jump right into, something that we don't have to, carve an entire hour for. It's wonderful if you can give an hour to meditation, but if you can't, we would like you to be able to jump in and know that you could do 5 or 10 minutes, 20 minutes would be even better, but like a guided meditation like the ones I was just suggesting on my website, or just go sit outside for 5 minutes, close your eyes and take some breath, and that we'll choose to think of that as a really helpful way of beginning to start to meditate. Let's also make meditation more appealing to people. So I want you to sort of let go of the idea that this is about, I need to empty my mind, I have to not think at all, that's what meditation is. And instead, what I want you to think of it as is it's just a vacation. I want you to think of meditation as a vacation for your mind and from your day. That, I'm just going to take a 5 to 10 minute vacation for my mind and from my day. And if you could think of it that way, then you might be more likely to have different expectations of it, where just taking a break or a vacation could be something that's a little bit more appealing to you. So the one sort of last quick fun fact that I want to share with you about meditation is that your brain does not know the difference between you actually being at the beach and telling your brain that you're at the beach. That's a true thing. So you could go to the beach right now and take in all of the beauty and feel relaxed, or you could just tell your brain that you're at the beach and get the same type of relaxation. I know that sounds amazing, but this is one of the great aspects of meditation that is part of the reason that I can sell it to you, is saying, let's just sit quietly for 5 to 10 minutes and consider it a vacation. Consider it taking a break, because our brain doesn't know the difference anyway. And that's what we could be doing with this time, is we could be flooding it with things that feel good. Meditation can be about focus, that we're just choosing to focus on what feels good instead of what doesn't feel good. Okay, so we are going to begin this meditation now. Again, it'll be about 5 to 7 minutes. If you can find a quiet place, or just let yourself sit down for a moment, preferably having your feet on the floor, but if it's easier for you to be, sitting up on your bed or on a couch, that's perfectly fine as well. And I'm going to ask you to see if you can actually begin by closing your eyes and then putting your hand on your belly and seeing if you can breathe into your belly with that belly breath, just for 1, 2, or 3 breaths. So as you're just settling in, imagine that you could take a nice deep breath in through your nose into your belly. Nice long exhale out through your mouth. And this is a real no pressure breathing. All we need to do is just let ourselves sort of naturally start getting more relaxed by settling in. Nice deep breath in through your nose, into your belly. Great long exhale out through your mouth. And let's go ahead and do that one more time. Nice deep breath in through your nose. And great long exhale out through your mouth. So as you're just beginning to become more centered and more relaxed, I would like to ask you to use your imagination. You're just going to let your mind imagine a place that is a beautiful place to you, a place that you find relaxing, safe, calming. Bring to mind a place that you have either visited that feels this way to you, or that exists in your fantasy, a place that you think would feel so beautiful and relaxing and safe. And as you're in this place now, you're imagining this place that's so calm and relaxing, I'd like you to take a look around and just notice what you see in this beautiful place. What are the colors? What are the images? What's there in this beautiful place? Take a look at the sky. Describe the color to yourself. The trees, the ocean. Just notice everything that you see in this relaxing place. And now I'd like you to listen in, and notice, what are the sounds in this relaxing place? What do you hear? Is there wind? Are there birds? The sound of the ocean, trees? And now I'd like you to take a nice deep inhale in through your nose. Try to notice, what is it that you smell? What does this relaxing place smell like? Now notice your skin, your hair, and your feet. What are they feeling? Do they feel the warm sun on them? Is there sand or soil underneath your feet, your toes? What is your body feeling? Take a nice deep breath into this relaxing place, and just notice for a moment, what do you taste in your mouth? And as you take another nice deep breath, just enjoying how relaxing and peaceful this is, I'd like you to imagine a name for this place. What do you want to call it? If you ever wanted to revisit it again, what do you want to call it? Now take another nice deep breath, and I'd like you to realize, as you inhale and you exhale, that you can visit this place at any time. And on your next inhale, I'd like you to realize that this place is always within you. And exhale as well. And on your last nice deep breath, I'd like you to remember that you can always choose to feel this way. It is always within you. Take one more nice deep inhale and then an exhale. When you're ready, you can go ahead and open up your eyes. So that is just a quick spin through a meditation to reinforce to you that you don't need to be at the beach in order to feel as relaxed as you do on the beach. You can tell your brain by using your senses all of the what you can think, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you feel on your skin, what you smell. If you engage in your senses in that way, your brain will actually think you're in that relaxing place, and it will respond by helping you to feel more relaxed, which is a really incredible tool to be able to carry with you anywhere you go. In conclusion, today we discussed 4 habits that can increase your happiness set points, which then as a result are also decreasing your anxiety and your depression. Because people that are happier are using habits that make them happier. They're not just born that way. They're doing things that actually make them happier. And if you'd like that to be you, you can increase your happiness as well. The 4 things that we discussed are that all have a very high ROI as well, is to take a 10-minute walk every day, to have a daily gratitude practice, of which we talked about a variety of different types, of calming your whole system down with daily belly breathing exercises, and practicing meditation by taking a 5 to 10-minute vacation or a break by visiting this safe and peaceful place.